A very good afternoon to you on this Thursday, the 12th of October 2017. It's time for Business Insight, and today we are going to focus on youth in business and how important is it to blog or be in magazines to actually market your business. My name is Nina Shaban, and let's get right into the stories that are making headlines in the business world. Kenya Red Cross Society, in partnership with Kitui, launched the Ndengu Revolution, known as Inua Mkulima Food Security Project, that targets approximately 200,000 smallholder farmers. The project will enhance food security in the county, support livelihoods, and build community resilience to disasters.
The Ndengu Revolution, also known as Inua Mkulima, is the food security project that seeks to improve food security and livelihood of Kitui residents, as well as reduce poverty and train small-scale farmers, alongside provision of financial services. Kitui has been one of the regions that has been most affected by the impact of the failed rains that have occasioned the current drought crisis in Kenya. Thus, the project targets approximately 200,000 smallholder farmers. Preparations are, however, underway, targeting the short rainy seasons of October, November, December, where a normal to enhanced rainfall is predicted in the country. The targeted communities will receive high-grade and quality certified green gram seeds for agriculture due to its good yielding, high returns, and the community understanding of green grams farming. Each household will be issued with a 2 kg packet of seeds, which is enough for planting in a half-acre farm, and the project is estimated to cost about 100 million shillings. Kenya Red Cross Society will also collaborate with the county government to ensure a ready market for the farmers by organizing them to cooperatives that can market their produce in bulk. Njeri Njogo, Business Insight.
Now let's get into the country's economy, where reduced lending by commercial banks has kept the first quarter economic growth at its slowest pace in 5 years. Kenyan National Bureau of Statistics says the growth hit by drought left around 2.7 million people in need of food aid and drove inflation to a 5-year high.
According to the Statistics Office, Kenya's economy has decreased to 4.7% in the first quarter of this year, compared to last year's quarter, which was 5.9%. Food prices this month slowed down to an inflation of 9.21% from 11.7% a month earlier. Commercial banks lending to private sector have in the past 3 months grown at the slowest pace in more than a decade. Poor weather has interfered with the agricultural sector since 2009, which is a blow to most Kenyans who make their living through agriculture. The agricultural sector shrunk by 1.1%, going down to 286.3 billion shillings for 8 years now. Slower lending has left key economic and job growth drivers such as manufacturing and agriculture struggling for funding.
And the price of one bag of sugar, has dropped by 26% in the last few months. According to the stakeholders, this has been triggered by a high rate of sugar subsidy imports in the country.
50-kilogram bag of sugar is currently costing 4,500 at the factory, down from 6,000 2 months ago. 2 kilograms of sugar at the retail now cost between 250 shillings and 300 from 400 few months ago. Stakeholders said that the decline was due to increase of imports and also reopening of some factories that have been shut for lack of maintenance. 2 months ago, traders were allowed to import 150,000 tons of sugar in order to curb shortage of the commodity in the country. Drought has been one of the challenges facing the sugar industry in the country, causing shortage of almost 2 million metric tons last year. Sugarcane farming in Kenya supports over 200,000 small-scale farmers in Kenya. Approximately 6 million Kenyans derive their livelihood directly or indirectly in the sugar industry. However, domestic production of sugar saves the country about 45 billion shillings in foreign exchange. Each year, Kenya produces 650,000 metric tons of sugar compared to its consumption of 800,000 metric tons. However, short rains which were experienced in sugar-growing areas are likely to improve the production. Njeri Njogo, Business Insight.
The nation's inflation dropped to 7.6% in the month of September from 8.04% in the month of August due to normalization of food distribution that was disrupted by the general elections in August. Here's a highlight on Kenya's exports according to the Kenyan National Bureau of Statistics. Agriculture, forestry, fishing, manufacturing, electricity and financial intermediation are sectors that have slowed down the economy. Overall, the latest estimates by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics show the last quarter was characterized by sharp increases in food prices and a notable rise in international oil prices, with inflation hitting a high of 11%. Data by the KNBS shows that the increase made Somalia the third largest destination for Kenya's merchandise on the continent. Somalia's uptake of Kenyan goods comes at the back of the Miraa export ban in early 2016, which started with claims of 100% duty before it was later resolved. Kenya's other export markets were noted to have shrunk, with exports to Uganda remaining flat, while those to Tanzania and Egypt dropped. Uganda's export stood at 30 billion shillings, whereas Tanzania, which is the second largest market in Africa. All right, now business blogging and magazine is a marketing tactic that gets you business through visibility. It's simply a marketing channel, actually. Now, Envask magazine is the fastest growing business magazine and blog. Joining me is a young man, Kevin Kimani, the founder of Envask magazine, just to give us an insight on how this marketing tactic works. Now, thank you very much for joining us, first of all, and thank you very much for having the time. Let's start with, how old are you?
I'm 24 years old. Yes.
Okay, you're very young. And before we get to matters Envask and how does your blogging and magazine work, maybe you can give us a highlight of your background and how you got into the magazine and blogging world. And why did you choose this sort of business?
Well, for me, I would say is, since when I was young, you know, coming up from being brought up in a village, I didn't know anyone that is doing a business. First of all, I didn't know what business is all about. I didn't know what a company is like until in 2009, when I was in Form 2, I had to drop out due to lack of school fees and came to Nairobi's Kibera, and I did a lot of hawking. And it is after that, or during that time, that I saw people driving big cars and everything. And I asked the people that I knew, how comes, where do these people work? Are they just employed like what we're being taught to school, to just go to school and graduate and get a job? Or what are they doing? And I was told most of these guys own their companies. And that is when I asked what a company is. And I was told everything about a company and how to build a company. And I thought about myself, I think one day I'll have my own company. By that time, I didn't know what it is and what it will do. I went back to school, to cut the long story short. I cleared school. I went to the University of Nairobi. But my main goal was not to, you know, most people have these goals of going to university to study medicine, engineering,
become a lawyer,
and all those things.
Yes.
Personally, my only dream was to go to university. Just that. I didn't know what I wanted to study. So when I found myself at the University of Nairobi, that is 2013, I was selected to study Bachelor of Arts. And my main, you know, in arts you do 3 disciplines, the first year and second year, and then you major in that year. So my first 2 disciplines were mathematics and economics. And then I was like, what else do I add? I thought about Chinese and I said no. And with a few friends, we decided, let's do communication because, you know, it's all about talking and everything.
Yes, yes.
So I studied those 3 disciplines, and then I was later to fall in love with communication more than anything else. And I had to drop everything else and continue to do with communication. But remember, I still had my goal of doing, starting a company. Back in 2012, immediately after high school, I told myself, before October 2015, I'll have my own company running. And so during the whole process, during the years in campus, I was still doing mind maps and asking myself, what can I do? And in 2014, I had 3 ideas. One was rabbit keeping, the second one was doing charcoal, and the third one was a magazine.
Which are all lucrative business.
Yes. So I started rabbit and chicken. It failed. I almost sort of gave up.
Yes.
But in 2015, I thought I had very many business names. And remember, I still have my goals. So I registered in VASC. And then I wanted to do branding, but it didn't come up so well because the guys that I was working with didn't.
All right.
Yeah.
Before you even go any further, we'll just like to give a slight background when it comes to education in Kenya. There's a complaint that when young people are sent to study in school, and the Kenyan education being the final examinations from class 8, then KCPE, final examinations from Form 4, KCSE, then you go to university. There's a complaint that Kenyans or Kenyan lecturers and teachers only teach you how to pass exams. They never really teach you how to go out there and survive. What are your sentiments on that?
My thinking is, you know, that is what lecturers do in school, but what are you doing in school? I mean, you should have a goal when you go to school. Like I told you, I went to school personally to learn, and before I left school, I wanted to have my own business, which I did. And I think everyone should have their own goal, and that goal is what drives you, such that even if the lecturers and everyone else is studying to pass exams, for you should be that main goal that you have. So you do not just look forward to only what the lecturer is teaching, but you still have to go a long way into doing your own research and using, you know, universities have a lot of resources that you can utilize. So you utilize those university resources during your time there to see that you're able to accomplish the goal that you have set for yourself.
All right. Being 24, the age 24 is relatively young. I'm sure you can agree with me on that.
Most people say so.
Yes, there you go. Now, after graduating, did you ever think of looking for a job? Did you go through a job hunt process? Or did you just decide you already knew, I want to do business and this is what I'm going to settle on?
First, I've not graduated. And 2, I don't think I will ever graduate. Because what happened is, in 2014, when I was a second year, remember I told you I fell in love with communication other than some other mathematics and economics that I was studying. So I told myself, I'll never do anything that is not adding meaningful value to myself. And so I told myself, in 2014 I said, these mathematics, I don't know anywhere I'll use them. So I stopped. I didn't do 2 units in mathematics. There are still some units that I didn't do in economics. But I've tried to negotiate with the university to allow me to substitute those units with communication units, which they are still reluctant. And for myself, you know, for me to graduate, I have to undertake those units.
Yeah.
And for me, I see it's a waste of a lot of resources in terms of finances, and most importantly, time. That time I can use to study those units, I can use it to advance myself. Like right now, I want to learn more about business development and marketing. So I should want to invest in learning the tools and the areas that are most useful to me right now than going to study those
units like
yes.
mathematics.
Yes.
And I beg to differ with you because when it comes to education, everyone seems to say education is key to success.
Yes.
But the problem with the youth is that when we decide to start a business and we see how well the business is doing, we, as you said, you feel like you're wasting time in class. You'd rather go look for money. What would you say to other youth members out there when it comes to matters education, regardless the fact that you have not graduated?
For me, I know education is very important.
Yeah.
It is very important for someone and for everyone. But it's not to say that I'm not learning, I'm still learning. But like I said, you need to first identify your goals. And once you have those goals are the ones that will inform the kind of direction you will take in life. So I'm not saying that education is not important. It is extremely important to everyone. But if you find that your goals at the present moment, that you need to focus on something else, you can first put something on hold and then do what is bringing more value to your life and what is exciting you.
Oh, all right, Kimani. That's okay. I agree with you when it comes to that. But with struggling with school, with all those obstacles coming in and being able to be the founder of one of the most growing magazines in Kenya, maybe you can highlight for us other obstacles that you've met, apart from the fact that you did not have school fees and you had to hustle your way to university. So since you started Envask, what challenges did you face before the business actually took off?
One, I didn't face major challenges before it took off.
All right.
But immediately it took off, there
You're
were
lucky.
quite a lot of major challenges. I started Envask without money. I had only 100 shillings, which I used for business name search and reservation. And then from there I started off. I didn't have anything else. But within that month, I was able to meet two ladies that we partnered to do business with. At that time, Envask wanted to do branding solutions. It was in October, November, and December 2015. But we never got any client, we never got any money, but all of us were students, so we were still comfortable. In 2016, we thought, what if we made it a blog? And we changared everyone 1,000, and then we bought a domain name and registered and got hosting for 1 month, for 1 year. But we didn't have money that can hire writers. We didn't have money that can hire a web designer. So what I did is I had a mini laptop that my dad had bought for me. And I told myself, I'm in the university, there's no expenses that I'm having fare,
Yeah, you're not incurring any
rent,
expenses,
I don't have any expenses. And the university have free internet. So I went to YouTube and learned how to design a website. And I designed the website, and then we told ourselves, let's get our friends in campus who can join us in writing. And that's how we got started. But after 1 month, there was no any single shilling. Actually, I never made even a single shilling for the first 1 year of business. That made them to think this is not a worthy investment. It's not working, and they had to leave. On and on, the challenges are so many. I face, I tell my friends that I face more challenges than 99% of all my friends. And I think that is what makes me different.
All right, it does actually make you different. But what I'd like to ask Kimani is, why did you end up choosing this particular business? Why blogging and magazine? Yes, you were in love with communication, but the chances of making money from such an industry, sometimes it's pretty low, and you need to have like enough capital, pump in a lot of money for it to take off, as you said. So what made you confident enough to actually start the blogging and magazine business?
Personally, I'm passionate about human potential, and the fact that most people die without really using their potential up. They die with their potential with them. That is something that really drives me. And I thought, what if I came up with a blog? Because Envask started off as a blog last year on 22nd February. It started off as a blog of personal development and motivation. Remember, I was a motivational speaker while still in campus. And we want to share ideas that people can use to, improve their productivity and achieve their goals in life. And that is something that really drives me. And the fact that the chances of making money are very little, that is true. But personally, I don't see Envask as just a blog or as just a magazine, because the vision I have for the magazine is big, and I love to consider it as a digital media company. Opportunities have come by. Despite doing the magazine that we do every month and we sell digitally, A lot of other people have come to me and to us and have told us, we want to start a magazine, how do I start it? Can you do it for me? So we are also doing magazines for other people, we are developing content for other people.
So you're
we
also
are like
consulting?
A content developing agency for companies.
On that note, now give us a clear picture of what Invest does, especially when it comes to Marta's business, and how exactly are you aiding the business community?
Our special focus at Invest is we have deep interest in actionable business ideas, strategies, and news and feature stories and articles from the most outstanding entrepreneurs out there. Because, you know, at this age of internet, there is a lot of information everywhere, and you don't know, you know, where to go. You don't know which site to trust. And so what we do is we don't share content just for sharing. We want you to, when you come and read about the business ideas that we share, about the business strategies that we share on different aspects of building a business, like financing, we share about customer service, we share about technology, we share about social media, we share about marketing.
Yeah.
All those, when you read our content with a notebook. Because there is something you will do. It is a learning process.
Yeah.
And that is why we say our content is actionable. Once you read, there is definitely something you will go and act on. And then the stories that we share, we want to showcase what is possible through entrepreneurship. With entrepreneurs out there and the business community, we get entrepreneurs who are about to start, who have already started their businesses, and people who have made it big in businesses, and we ask them, how exactly did you build that business?
So
then we tell that story, and people will be able to see, hey, yes, people face challenges. This person got challenge A, B, C, D, and this is how they overcome. And so people get encouraged, and they learn the exact truth about building a successful business.
Yes. So you make successful people share their experiences.
True.
Which is a proper learning process.
Yes.
Now, what are your future plans when it comes to Invest, and what are the plans of Invest when it comes to contributing into the life of the youth members?
One is, of course, we want to grow the magazine so that we can reach. Our goal is to reach at least 1 million entrepreneurs in every African country, and that will help us create at least 590 million jobs in Africa. But apart from just the magazine, soon we'll be starting Invest Hub, whereby we have identified 17 industries.
Okay.
We'll have around 17 business incubation centers under one hub. We're calling it Invest Hub. And there's a lot more that will come apart from that.
What have you been able to get maybe foreign investors, local investors? Are you looking into partnering with them? What is your plan?
Currently, because we've been small, we have my focus has been growing the business and to gain market traction and to get customers. And because we have done that, currently between now and December, I'm looking for financing from investors. I'm pitching to investors and also looking for more that can come on our way so that we can partner and reach out and help more entrepreneurs and make Africa the center and of doing business in the whole world.
All right.
Yes.
So from where you're sitting, someone who has experience as much as you're 24, you're
Yes.
very young, yeah?
Yes.
But from where you're sitting and someone who has experience in the business world, I mean, you are writing, or rather you are the founder of a business magazine. How would you rate the state of business in Kenya and Africa at the moment?
Well, doing business is difficult anywhere in the world,
Yeah.
be it in Kenya, be it in South Africa, be it in the United States. I would say, at least I'm very excited because every day young entrepreneurs are acting on their ideas and they are launching startups everywhere. But the major challenge is these people, most people start businesses for the wrong reason. And so when they face a challenge or two, they just close shop and go into something else. Yes.
Which is actually understandable, because imagine you've put in all your money into a business that is not doing well. And then most of the times when you're starting a business, you have probably borrowed the money from a bank, or you've saved, and that was your last saving, or even you've borrowed from family. So once the business is not doing well, there's a lot of backlash. There's a lot of, the bank will want their money back. Your family will keep on telling you, oh, when are you paying us back? And it's difficult. So what is your advice to every other young person out there who, including me, I've tried starting a business and it's taking me round. So it's easier to quit and choose employment. So what would be your advice when it comes to business startups to each and every other young person who's watching right now in Kenya?
My advice would be, number one, first you need to understand why you're starting that business. And you know, the major reason, like you said, people borrow money to start their businesses is because they're expecting business returns or they're expecting return on their investment soon. And like I told you, it took me more than 1 year before I got one single shilling. It takes a lot of investment in terms of time and in terms of your knowledge. And one is, before you get in, you need to first know what you're getting into. You need to do your research so well so that you know the dynamics that run about, you know, building your business. Even though it will not be so clear when you're starting, but understanding the market and the industry that you're getting into. And then number two, getting into business for the long term. You know, knowing that I'm into this and you have a very clear roadmap. It may not be so clear, but at least you have the end in mind. That will keep you going. And also venturing into something that you're passionate about, that will guarantee that you will not give up into when things get tough.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Kimani from Envask. He is the founder at the age of 24, which is relatively young. He's the founder of a business magazine and blog, which is the fastest growing currently in Kenya, only at the age of 24. His biggest advice to us is be patient, do your research, and make sure you know what you're doing before you actually pour your money into it. My name is Nina Shaban, and that's it for Business Insight. I'll be seeing you next week. Please do have a wonderful afternoon and a very good weekend.